for this week. Derek Gates putting on some big lap times during practice. He's going to throw up a 21.775 for lap number 1, but we'll see if he can top it for lap number 2 as he comes around now into the backstretch into 3 and 4. Derek Gates, the 19 machine, looking for a little bit better than the 70.75, but we'll see here as he does a little bit better on this one, a 21.614. And I believe that's going to land him around the sixth place.
Yeah, 6th place right now for Derek Gates, but he's still got some bullets in the chamber to dodge here.
I can still do math.
Yeah, 2 plus 2 is 3 or something like that. It's something along
minus
those lines.
1 divided by 3, but
yeah,
Chris
ahead of 0.
It's all Chris Roma right now.
That's the Royal Volts RBR number 83. Royal Volts back on this series as well as the lap 65 bonus leader. And Chris Roma's led some laps this season, has done extremely well, and looking for a little bit better on lap number 2, currently 10th. One more lap around. Checkered flag is out. He goes to a 65. Going to put him to P number 9. So a little bit better, but I'm sure Chris wanted a little bit more out of that run as the 67 away Craswell on the racetrack now. Only 7 more cars to run in qualifying. So a great practice effort once again for Wade. And you mentioned some of these drivers getting a better practice effort. And yes, putting time into the racetrack helps too. But I think you're going to see with Richmond, lap number 1 comes across at a 21.79. That is going to be position 13 for Craswell. But Mike, when we get onto these racetracks, I talked about these racetracks like a Richmond and an Iowa and the old Phoenix we ran last year here on Vidane TV with the Supers. Some of those bigger racetracks tend to go well in different driving styles. There's a 67 in the wall. That's going to negate lap number 2. So 13th will be the lap of record for Wade Craswell, but I think it lends to some of these driving styles a little bit better than others. And Craig Tully right now on the racetrack, he's been putting up some great practice runs and some great practice times the last couple of weeks. He's going to see if he can put something on the board here in qualifying.
Yeah, I really like Richmond. We've been here a few times now over the last 12 months, but this is going to be a great night for some 2 wide, 3 wide racing, but that wall creeps up on you real quick coming out of 4. So we've already seen quite a few in qualifiers scraping up and neglecting that lap. But Craig Tully putting up a 21.614, not too shabby for lap number 1. Tully going to come around. This cat's fast tonight. Can Tully top lap number 1 as he comes around? And that is going to be a 21.614 for his top lap. First lap we've been seeing Tim has been a little bit quicker than the second one.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of lap 2s be quicker. We saw Brett Suggs kind of throw away his first lap on his run. And actually Brett Suggs' time is still currently P2 in the Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing qualifying. And he's only got 5 more bullets to dodge to try to keep a top 2 run. Lap number 1 for Matthew Barkhouse. He's going to want a better lap number 2. That might be his throwaway to 22.
Throwback, but we'll see what Caden Tufts has for us tonight. And lap number 1 as he comes around, the white silk, as he's going to throw up a 21.568. Not too shabby for Tufts.
Yeah, first lap comes in at P5 for the driver from Timberley, Nova Scotia, the Randy Jackson HVAC. Number 88 comes down into corner number 3 and 4. LBT Pallets also on the side of that race car. Coming up at corner number 4, he'll come to the checkered flag this time and had that thing with a handful of steering wheel coming out of that final corner. 21.67. Lap number 1's the quickest, but how about this? John Byron, the driver from Sydney, put the 3rd quickest lap in practice. He's, I don't want to say got a little pressure on him right now, but I would think with only 3 cars left to go, there's got to be a little bit on him.
Well, he had a little wobble coming out of 1 and 2, so I don't think this one's going to be the one, but hopefully on the second lap now, the 57 throws up a big monster lap. Johnny Byron in the 57 machine throws down a 21.87 for lap number 1, but I got a funny feeling this one's going to be a little bit sharper as he heads down the backstretch into 3 and 4. Will Johnny Byron vying for the pole here as he comes around? And we will find out with checkers in the air for him. That's going to be a little bit better with a 21.77. That is going to land him. Ooh, do the math here. 15th. Am I right?
That's 16th. Close enough. He's still got some work to do, regardless. What he's got to do.
I'm going back to school.
We'll get you an abacus or something to work with. Slide the beads across slide the beads across the wire.
Now, Tim, this cat here, this is one to look at. Last couple of months, I'm so super impressed with this Bando kid, the 56 Tat Woolridge, and look at that, he throws down a 21.72 for lap number 1. But this cat is getting quicker and quicker every week, Tim. And I know you probably watched him personally in real life race, but I'm really impressed with this cat. And he throws down a pretty decent lap with a 21.59. Tell us a little bit about Tant.
Yeah, Tanton Woolridge Bandolero standout, won at every racetrack that he was at last year, but I'm kind of confused. It's not a yellow paint scheme that we're used to. It's the black on that car, so it's going to take some getting used to when we go green here in just a few moments' time. The final driver to take time in Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing qualifying is Mike Rhino, and he is on the wood coming out of corner number 4. Lap number 1 comes up at a time of 21.51, puts in P4, so he's going to need a little bit more here to try to get those top 3 positions. But Mikey was a little sideways coming into turn number 4, and a little sideways there. It's probably not going to show up on the stopwatch.
Yeah, that wall creeps up and you're really quick here at Richmond. So obviously we're seeing a few drivers making some adjustments here, but not too shabby. 21.51 is the number. That's going to land him in 4th spot in row number 2. But I believe Mike Rhino, partner in crimes with Mike Alexander, Matthew Barkhouse, if I serve my memory correct.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at the qualifying results. It'll be Mike Alexander, Matthew Barkhouse, Brett Suggs, Mike Rhino, John Fitzpatrick, top 5. And those will be the drivers in order from Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing qualifying to take the Vino's Truck and Auto Pole Challenge. Mike gets $90 if somebody can come from the back of the field to come to the front and win this race, offered to the first 5 drivers in order as they qualified. So that is what race officials are doing now. Caden Tufts, Dave Cassidy, Ashton Tucker, Tanton Woolridge, and Derek Gates. Your top 10. 23 drivers took time in qualifying. Craig Tully, Travis Roma, Nicholas Noggle, Chris Roma, Mark Williams, Danny Vitch, Nick Mott, John Byron, Wade Craswell, Conrad Murphy, your top 20. Final 3 in qualifying, Taylor Layton, Kyle Gammon. And for the final couple of words of wisdom from race control to these drivers, and then we'll be going racing here for 125 laps.
I don't know about words of wisdom, but hopefully we get a clean race here tonight. Lots of room here, Tim, but that wall is going to be a factor, definitely. What do you think of tires? 125 laps here at Richmond. Do you think tires are going to be a factor here tonight?
I would say tires are probably going to be at some point. It's 125 laps. It's a long race around here. They have 2 sets of tires, so one on the race car and one down there on pit road. So we saw last week there was a ton of cautions, and there really wasn't a ton of tire wear at the Bull Ring. I think if we see a green flag run here, not only are you going to have to be worried about fuel, you're going to have to be worried about tires as well. We had a race here back in March during the pandemic season, per se, and we had a long green flag run, and guys ended up running out of fuel in a 100-lap race. Now, I do not know, I'll tell you right up, if they're running the fixed setup with iRacing or not, or they're running the new open fixed that they have, or the competitive fixed. But that they might have added some fuel to it, so it might not be as aggressive on the fuel load, but we'll see how this all shakes out. We're still waiting for the advance to go ahead and get this party started for 125 laps.
Now, Tim, now that we got a bit of time, Sunday night, it was a late night at Daytona. What were your thoughts with the big win by Mike McDowell?
Oh, it was great to see an underdog team go to victory lane, and a lot of cars tore up. There's Barney with the checkered flag, so he's gonna wave that. We're gonna get this party started here, but yeah, it's great to see, and looking forward to just having the NASCAR season back underway. And my driver finished 4th. I don't know where your driver was at. Was in Charlotte, I think, or Concord by the time the race ended, wasn't he?
Don't even go there, right? Like, seriously. It was an early big one, you know? It just kind of got stuck in there, but you know what? It was an awesome way to kick things off. First time win for McDowell. You know, to win your first race at Daytona, man, that is just off the charts. So he must be over the moon. and super excited. But we are getting set to go racing here at Richmond. And Tim, I'm super pumped to be with you here in the booth. And Paul, Showtime Strickland as well, cracking the beers. It is go time. We are gridding and getting set to go. But you're going to take us through with with our grid.
Yeah, we are going to wait and see if anybody takes the VEINOTTE'S Truck and Auto Pole Challenge. Have not seen the command come down in the race session as to who is moving to the back of the field. So I believe we're still waiting for a couple of cars to appear on this starting grid, waiting for fourth place Mike Rhino to get on the grid. And as soon as he does, I believe that'll give us our 23 cars on the starting grid to move forward for 125 laps. And I think patience is going to be the key in this one, Mike. We saw it last week. There was none of that. There was no patience at the bull ring with this racetrack being so big and so wide. And you mentioned it lends itself to kind of, some too wide racing. I think this is going to be a fun night.
I got a funny feeling we're going to see some 3-wide racing, but Richmond, lots of room, like it said earlier, and the only thing is that wall creeps up behind the corner, so hopefully we do not have a caution full night. We had over, I believe the last run was about 60% under yellow, very much changing up the strategy on pit road and whatnot at the bull ring, so we'll see tonight if we can get a long green flag stretch and if we see some green flag pit stops here tonight. But it's going to be a fun one, and we'll find out just in a moment who's going to go to the tail for that $90 that's going to be on the board. And I believe, did you say Brett Suggs is a sponsor?
He is the sponsor of pole qualifying. VEINOTTE'S Truck and Auto is the sponsor of the pole challenge. And field is moving, and I do not see anybody moving to the back of the field. So it may go unclaimed tonight, and we haven't seen anybody come from next door. Oh, but we got a couple of guys. Oh, yeah. Somebody didn't go there.
Impatience.
Yeah, well, and that's a bad sign when you got 125 laps ahead of you and no quick repairs on these race cars. But I would almost say we'll have 2 pace laps because this is a big racetrack. So I don't foresee, by the looks of it, anybody that has taken the VEINOTTE'S Truck and Auto Pole Challenge. That rolls over to next week, and I believe that also rolls up the money to like close to $100 for next week if that is the case. So we are going to assume, since nobody is moving to the back, that nobody has taken the VEINOTTE'S Truck and Auto Pole Challenge. So, and I guess if that doesn't go next week, Mike, I guess that's beer money for you and me, right?
That sounds like a plan. And $90, $100. That's 3 2-4s if my math is correct. But not sure how much a 2-4 is up on the mainland, but. It'd be a pleasure to share a few wobbly pops with you, Tim. And I'm excited to see the shake and bake front row here. Our pole setter to 75, Mike Alexander, will have Matthew Barkhouse on the outside. And look at that, row number 2 is pretty stout as well. Brett Suggs on the inside with Mike Rhino to the outside.
Great qualifying effort for Caden Tufts as well. We saw him run really well early last week, and we'll see what he can do from position number 6, and then the new colors for John Fitzpatrick in row number 3 as well, with Saltwater on that race car. Pace car is going to hop in. This is the Clark's Electric 125, round number 5 of the RBR Maritime Series. Mike Alexander, Matthew Barkhouse, the 2 Rev Racing teammates. See the green flag. We are underway for the first of 125 laps. They'll dive it down into corner number 1 and 2. And one thing we didn't mention off the top of the show, Mike, is a little bit of a change in race control on that department, that there are no sim control yellow flags tonight. Everything is done from upstairs. So that may help us a little bit as we go through here tonight, getting some green flag racing.
Well, there's a lot of shakalacking going on in lap number 1 as Suggs and Fitzpatrick did a few crossovers there. No harm, no foul. Both of them testing out. One of them wanted to go to the high, but decided to go to the bottom. But we're having a peek now at the front bumper of Mike Rhino. He is in P3 with Suggs and Chase, followed by Fitzpatrick, Caden Tufts, and Ashton Tucker. Tucker taking that spot away from the 88.
And so they'll move up one more position. There's Fitzpatrick on your screen in the 78 car as they work down the straightaway down to corner number 3. You look back from John Fitzpatrick back to the 88. Ashton Tucker, Dave Cassidy, 2 of the drivers from Miramichi. Next up there as well with Tanton Woolridge. And I think after last week, single file racing here for the most part, and I think that's probably a way to log some laps. 125 laps is kind of, I don't want to say it's a long haul, but there's plenty of laps to get this thing done tonight.
Well, the 88 looks a little bit impatient, taking a peek to the inside in the 78 of John Fitzpatrick. I got a feeling he's going to try the bottom here and try to go door to door with the 78. We see it just slightly on my screen here as Caden Tufts goes door to door with Johnny Fitzpatrick. Too wide. Tufts going to take it, but here comes Ashton Tucker to the bottom, and also he's going to follow. I believe Dave Cassidy is going to take a run there now on the 78, and he'll go to the front of the 78 with the 56. Dropping to the bottom as well. So the 78 of Johnny Fitzpatrick losing quite a few spots on the top side, not working out. Bottom obviously a little bit quicker here, Tim.
Yeah, bottom a little bit quicker here, and it might be the fact that those drivers don't really want to use those tires up early in this race and kind of let the race come to them and let those tires heat up and come to them and don't get them angry early in this event. Matthew Barkhouse continues to lead up in front. Mike Alexander on his back bumper, and their teammate Mike Rhino in position number 3. And you know what, for the 34 car, it's kind of been an up and down season. He's qualified well. There's been a pole challenge or two that's been taken. He's been on the wrong side of the inch a couple of times as Roma picks up a spot on Derek Gates back there. We'll see what transpires through this race, but so far so good for the 34, currently running in position number 3 as we continue to watch the 78 of Fitzpatrick.
Just mentioned about the 78, Johnny Fitzpatrick. Quite often we see him at the tail of the race in the top 4, top 5, vying for a win. So I'm not too concerned for the 78. Like you said, maybe conserving tires and trying to go for a long stretch here without hitting down pit road. So strategy may be in play for the 78, but one car that is now not with us right now is the 83. Chris Roma has checked out, was at the tail, but may have had some internet issues. But unfortunately, we are going to lose the 83 of Chris Roma for tonight here at Richmond.
Might be an early exit for him in the number 83 car, as he actually has some connection issues. He's still falling out of the race server, so hasn't completely fell through with what we would call it, Mike, and he'll wait. He'll probably be 6 or 7 laps down by the time he comes back in and competes here this evening. Change for about position number 6. It's Ashton Tucker losing a spot. Dave Cassidy goes to the inside, and now the 56 of Tanton Woolridge trying to pick up the pieces as well. As down into corner number 1, you see your top 3. There's Rhino closing in on his 2 teammates.
Now, you didn't answer my question, but I asked if my memory serves me correct. The 34 is teammates with the 75 and 15. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Well, 1, 2, 3 for the boys here tonight as they're going to try to control it. But Caden Tufts staying within reach, trying to throw out the fishing rod right now on the 34 and trying to apply some pressure back there. But calm and collected out front, the 15, Matthew Barkhouse, turning some quick laps here. 21:54 on the last one, not too shabby. Some quick laps being logged by our top 3.
Yeah, quick laps here early, but they are being joined by the 88 of Caden Tufts in position number 4. So if they are riding, they might have some blistering laps and quick laps here early, but if they are riding a little bit to save, I don't think Caden Tufts is, and I don't think that's really in his vocabulary to save. Sitting in position number 4, the Randy Jackson HVAC, number 88. And they're actually bringing in some friends right now in behind. Brett Suggs isn't too far back. Ashton Tucker, Dave Cassidy. Dave Cassidy's been on the move, picking up a couple of spots. Back up in position number 6. So we've actually got an 8-car freight train right now, Mike, led by this number 15 of Barkhouse for the lead.
Yeah, a little separation between the groups, but just looking at the gaps, about 0.4 of a second behind there in the second group, but trying to maintain composure, but lots of green flag action here. 16 laps complete, all carried out with the top runner, the 15, Matthew Barkhouse, controlling it with his 2 teammates behind, the 75, Mike Alexander and Mike Rhino in P3. But like you said, Brett Suggs and Caden Tufts applying some pressure now, trying to close that gap. I got a funny feeling we're going to see some action with that 88 in just a moment.
Yeah, I'm sure he wants to get up here and get in the mix and battle with these 3 teammates up in front, but they are holding court at the front of the field. Barkhouse, Alexander, and Rhino, your top 3 as they work through Caden Tufts, Brett Suggs, Dave Cassidy, Ashton Tucker and Tanton Woolridge a part of this. And we just came from Daytona Monday night for the Trans-Service Cup Series, and we've raced a lot of Daytona. We've seen a lot of Daytona during speed weeks. And Mike, I don't want to say it looks like an 8-car draft, but that's pretty much what they're doing. They're working in line right now with this super late model package at Richmond. You can race here. It's not a draft race per se, but you kind of look at it coming off of Daytona. We got 8 cars in the pack that are going for the lead right now, 19 laps in.
Yeah, they're all working together right now and kind of chasing the same line that Matt House is throwing down. No one really jumping out a half a car. Caden Tuff's taking a peek just a little bit, but still a bit of a bridge to gap there, as about 0.2 of a second in the difference between Caden Tuffs and Mike Rhino. But look at that, Dave Cassidy now surge, and on the 33 of Brett Suggs. Almost got there, trying to look to the bottom here. Will the 13 make the pass? But Suggs surges forward, and Cassidy's going to have to be patient.
I think the heat cycle on the 88 after going a little bit too hard, too quick maybe, is kind of falling back. I think he's kind of conserving a little bit here. I haven't seen Dave Cassidy let up at all on his push towards the front of the field. So I'm almost thinking that the tires, especially 22 laps now into this run, they're trying to not be angry, not get heated up way too quick, and try to hinder the progress of some of these drivers that are moving quickly early in this one. I kind of saw that battle for the lead heating up just a little bit, and as much as it can be between teammates. Alexander's been kind of flirting with the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse, trying to maybe get some clean air inside that race car. There's no overheating issues with this setup, but as close as they can for a battle for the lead, Mike, between those two teammates.
I got a funny feeling the spotters are talking to each other. They're probably on the same Discord channel and probably chanting back and forth, but you may see the 15 give up the lead to the 75. The 75 looking a little bit quicker. Mike Rhino with a little bit of wobble opens the door for the 88 as Caden Tuffs dives in there and almost gets to the back bumper. But this is almost becoming a separation now between our top 8 as Caden Tuffs and our top 3 start to check out from our P5 and back.
Looking through the field, and we see that battle between Ashton Tucker when he's on the racetrack and the 33 of Brett Suggs side by side for what is position number 7. There's the 13 of Dave Cassidy in behind them. Is that battle between the 2 of Tucker, the 33 of Suggs, and the 56 of Woolridge. I kind of been watching into the corner of my eye, Mike, some of these battles. Middle of the pack, Travis Roma has got up past John Fitzpatrick. He's up 3 positions early in this race. But the 2 drivers that are on the move right now are sitting back in 13th and 14th place, and I think they're about to get added here for a position. Conrad Murphy and Kyle Gammon. Conrad's made a couple of early moves after that qualifying effort that didn't go the way he wanted to. Kyle Gammon just passed Derek Gates. That's at 13th and 14th. They've gained 7 and 8 positions respectively on those 2. So early in this run, as much running as you can do, those 2 are back there trying to make the effort move forward.
Well, both drivers putting down some pretty fast lap times in the practice session. Did not work out for them in the qualifier, like you said, on the move. But look at this, the 13 of Cassidy now going to pick up a spot on the 88 of Caden Tuffs. The 13 man on a mission right now, as he now sets his sights on the top 3 as he is powering down, looking at the last lap time for Dave Cassidy. About 7/100ths off the leader here now, but closing the gap pretty quick. Caden Tuffs deciding to dip in behind the 13.
Yeah, this is an impressive run for Dave Cassidy, but you know what? When you look back at some of the racetracks the bigger racetracks that we've run here on Vidain TV with some of our short track specialists that we have between RBR and the Wednesday night Tim's Corner Motorsports, some special event stuff. Dave Cassidy has run well at Dover. He's run well at Bristol. He finished second place in that Jim Hallahan 333. So I think he lends himself a little bit better to these, I don't want to say bigger racetracks, but maybe these racetracks that aren't necessarily run a whole lot when it comes to this super late model package and maybe those cup races. I know he's used to running some of the NIS races and some of the longer races when it comes to the NASCAR style Cup car on iRacing when they have their official series. But Dave Cassidy, the Mike's Bar and Grill White Lightning Auto Center Big Cam Fabrication number 13, and putting up a great effort here, one of the best efforts we've seen recently from the number 13. I say recently since maybe Dover a couple of weeks ago that we had here on the Saturday Night Special on Vidane TV. But he is methodically working his way to the front, and I think he's going to have something here. But we're 32 laps in, and I don't want to jinx it. We've been green so far, and this is where the tires start to come back. This is where the fuel starts to burn off, Mike. These cars will get a little bit lighter. They'll start handling a little bit differently, and we'll start to see some other drivers work their way towards the front.
Well, that 13 has joined the top 3 pack as he has a little bit of a different line than the rest of them, kind of looking to the bottom, looking for probably position on the 34. The 34 drops to the bottom, tries to close the door here, so keep an eye on that 13. He's been pretty stellar here tonight so far. And you know what? I've got to see him quite often over the last couple, and I believe Cassidy was pretty exciting at the Rock, as well as I think it was Wilkesboro. So maybe this is the night for Dave Cassidy, as he's looking pretty strong here in the first 35 laps here at Richmond.
And those are those bigger racetracks, and we keep saying bigger racetracks, but it's momentum. You're not off the wood very long here at Richmond. You're off the wood a little bit longer than you would be, say, at a Rockingham when the official series goes to Rockingham with the Super Lates and the ARCA car as you ride on board with the 13 car. And you can kind of listen to the throttle response here. You burp it down here into turn number 3, but for the most part, you're on it. With the older tires, sometimes that grip goes away and that adaptability kind of goes away, but you're on it for a very long time. But speaking about battles, we've seen this battle single file for a while. I want to see if Paul can get back to the 89 and the 98 back here around Conrad Murphy and Kyle Gambit, because these guys are going at it. If there's a caution, it works around here somewhere. John Byron coming to the front of the field after his qualifying effort. Kyle Gambit started 22nd. Conrad Murphy started 20th. They're working their way around the traffic. Danny Vitch is working to the inside of Mark Williams. This is only the battle, Mike, for position 14, but these drivers are putting on a show.
Yeah, Gammon up, all the way to the wall there, but opens up the doors. Mark Williams now will come up to the inside of the 98 as that's possibly going to lose a position, but he's trying to tuck in behind Johnny Byron's 57 machine. But Mark Williams applying pressure there now to almost the rear quarter as they go drag racing down the back stretch. And look at this. Daniel Vitch going to drop to the bottom here and may put Gammon back a couple of spots.
Yeah, Danny Vitch tried to get to the inside but couldn't get there. When these guys were side by side, it's allowed Wade Craswell to get up here in this battle as well. 40 laps being worked on the board in this Clark's 1:25. Gammon way up the racetrack to 29. And Vitch goes to the inside, continues to battle it out for that position. And best battle on the racetrack right now is around here up in front, still status quo. Looks like Travis Roma may have lost a spot to Tanton Woolridge back there, but other than that, it's kind of been kind of calm. This is the best battle on the racetrack here.
Yeah, beautiful night here in Richmond. 41 laps of all green flag. It's all been led by the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse. But like you said, a bit of action to the back here as Daniel Vitch will get around Kyle Gammon. Here comes the 67 of Wade Craswell as he half cars Gammon, but Gammon drops to the bottom and shuts the door on the 67 as he fights back against the 29 of Daniel Vitch. Almost close quarters there on the 29 as Kyle Gammon fights back.
And I think Gammon may have used all the good that was left in his tires. He worked his way up from 22nd. He was up as high as 14th place, and now he's back to almost where he started in position number 18. So Kyle has passed the most cars, I think, tonight, Mike, but he's also maybe been passed by the most cars tonight in this first 43 laps.
Well, Craswell almost spanked that wall there as he comes back on the attack on the 98 as, oh, wow, look at the 42. Mark Williams all over the track, testing out all the waters here as he went across all 3 lanes. But Vitch hanging on now to that position as, like you said, the 98 may have dusted off some of those tires, and maybe we may see the 98 come down pit road for a quick change.
And I'm not sure what these guys are going to be able to do on fuel mileage tonight. We mentioned earlier, I'm not sure what fixed setup they are running. I believe they are running a fixed setup, but not sure how long it can go on the fuel. And I don't know how much you can pack into these race cars to go 125 laps. So one would almost anticipate these drivers to be down on pit road at some point into this race. We saw pit stops in the first race of this season back at New Smyrna. So I don't think... We talked about Daytona having green flag pit stops last night in the Trans Service Cup Series here at Maine, but I don't think these drivers are going to want to pit under caution or under green, because if something happens and a caution does come out, that changes the whole complexity of this thing, especially with everybody running so close up in front. But we'll see how this all works out and see if we do go green to the end. But up in front, it continues to be Barkhouse leading the field.
Yeah, and that's now a big separation. Now our top, I believe, top 10 has now been separated. We are P4 to the front, now checking out from the rest of the field. Obviously conserving tires, and Cassidy still within striking range of this trio of Mike Rhino, Matthew Barkhouse, Mike Alexander. A little shake and bake up front trio of teammates controlling this one here at Richmond. 48 complete, all under green, Tim. Pretty exciting to be back racing. Almost want to get Paul to crank it up for us a little bit and turn up the wick here on hear some of these machines racing around Richmond.
We can probably sit back a little bit and give you a little bit of super late model action here on iRacing, and give you a little bit of the sights and sounds here. We'll give you a couple laps as they come by. Barkhouse leads this field.
Crank it up!
Here on the Clark's Electric 125. And Mike, I think we saw with those TV statics that the top four have kind of pulled away from the rest of this field. And what was about lap 25 or so, about halfway through this run, was an 8-car pack, is now kind of mushed to a 4-car pack. Caden Tufts and Ashton Tucker are kind of running together, but Ashton's kind of lost pace with Caden, and he's falling back to what might be 5 cars behind him. There's some separation now, and I hate to say separating the men from the boys, but the tire conservation, and Ashton Tucker needs a whole new right-hand side of that race car, but it looks like.
Well, one car we haven't talked a lot about tonight is the 38 machine of Travis Roma, now surging on the 2 of Ashton Tucker as he blips off the screen. A little bit of an internet service issue right now for the 2, but the 38 looking to the half as Ashton Tucker tries to block that run, as Suggs will probably come with him here and get to the back bumper. But Tim, probably the first time we did a crank it up here on the Verdane TV, but the only thing we didn't have was the big logo down there, but hopefully we don't get sued by Fox Sports.
We'll just put your face down there the next time for the big logo and have your ear put to the ground, right?
Yeah.
There goes Roma to the inside. He'll look to pick up one more here on Ashton Tucker. Tucker gets to all one more time. He'll lose 2 as Brett Suggs picks up 1. Nicholas Noggle is back here as well in position number 9. And you know what? He's been kind of quiet this evening. The 08 car running up here in the top 10. And there's a driver that has run some big super late model races and has been to Richmond Raceway. And right now, he's just inside the top 10. But compared to what we're used to seeing out of him, he hasn't really made a whole lot of noise tonight. But I think he also knows that he needs to have a car to be around at the end of the race, and I don't think this is the last time we'll speak about the 08 car, because I think they'll be up front before this checkered flag comes out.
Well, plenty of laps to go here as we get close to the halfway mark, as we get close to lapping 60 laps here. I believe we'll be up on the halfway in just a couple of laps here. But Caden Tuff's now making that move after getting a little bit of a motivation from Tim Terry. But one car we haven't talked a lot about was Tam Woolridge and Johnny Fitzpatrick back there, both crafty drivers and hanging in there within reach here as 56 may look to make a move now in the 2. He'll drop to the bottom as Ashton Tucker fights with the internet service provider. I'm not sure if it's Eastlink or whatever, or Bell, but that could cause possibly a caution here as the 56 is having issues seeing even where the 2 is, as they caution themselves checking up just a little bit so they don't go into the back bumper of the 2.
The 56 to 10 Woolridge, the 78 of John Fitzpatrick. You talk about teammates as Ashton Tucker continues to try to tie the 2 tree lines together. I know the internet in rural New Brunswick's not great as it is, and I don't know what they're getting of this winter storm that's going through the mainland right now, but Tanton Woolridge goes to the inside. And I'm getting used to this black and white that we're seeing, because it used to be bright yellow, at least for the last couple of months. And he works to the inside, picks up 1. John Fitzpatrick, same deal. Color change on that car in the 78 as well. So trying to get that done. And we're halfway through this race. Lap 65 completed. In a couple laps, that'll be the Royal Volts $10 bonus to the leader. And there's the lead, status quo. The 13 of Dave Cassidy has driven up to those 3 up there, and I think he's content to ride and kind of save something to maybe learn, go to school with these drivers up ahead of him. Next time by, when they come across the stripe, the Royal Volts $10 bonus will be in play. So Barkhouse has led every lap, and I don't see Alexander challenging his brother for that lead position. So should be the 15 car coming out of corner number 4, and he'll pick up an extra $10 bonus courtesy of the Royal Volts. You heard them off the top of the show when we came in. So there's another $10 to the arsenal of the 15 of Barkhouse. But, you know, we were looking back there at Woolridge and looking back at Fitzpatrick as Fitzpatrick starts to get under fire from the 19 car of Derek Gates. But you talk about fuel mileage, you talk about long runs, you talk about conserving. John Fitzpatrick's name is right up there when we talk about these short track races, Mike. And he's won a couple on fuel mileage, and we might see one more starting to play out here tonight.
Yeah, and you know what?
Yellow.
Gates is yellow, and Gates is gonna get into the door and kind of topple him over. Oh, baby, that's gonna bring in our good friend Paul Showtime Strickland.
Yeah, it gives us the first opportunity of the night. I got it. I made it to the button.
Okay. You got her?
We got her.
You got
First opportunity here at a VEINOTTE'S instant replay, and we're going to take a look, see what went down. We're going to back up the tapes. That was a big, big hit after the fact. Just getting the positioning of the tapes lined back up here. And there we can see just a quick rollover. Looks like it was the 98 of Gammon that rolled over. It looks like he is actually already out of this race, out of the car, out of the race. And definitely a big, big, big hit for that number 98 machine there, the Sheriff. Somebody tried pulling him over, and they said, nah, we're just going to flip you over. But we'll give it to you in real time, see if we can take maybe another quick little opportunity at it. There you see Conrad Murphy up in the wall, and just as he gets out of that wall glue, just turns left too hard. And, man, that's a big, big hit for the 98 car. Flips him a couple of times and brings that car to a stop there up on the top of the racetrack. It's a tough break for the Sheriff in the 98 car. See if we can take one more quick look here. And oh, there's another tag there from the 19. That's what we were waiting for. That's another big hit. So that 98 car is done. But rather than take another look at that, I actually think we're going to swing on down to pit road. Looks like it's a busy, busy place down there, Mike.
Yeah, everybody on pit road right now, and that is going to be see who is going to be racing off pit road as Mike Alexander has pit stall number 1 here. Well, we already seen a couple cars coming out, and there's going to be a change up. The 13 will make it out first. Dave Cassidy will be your new leader. Maybe only taking 2 here, Tim.
He may have very well. We'll have to go back and see what happened there. But Cassidy up front, and we've got some action there, do we?
Gates body slammed. I'm not sure if it was the 78 coming out of pit road, so I'm not sure if there was any damage there coming out of pit road, but I think we do see some damage on the 19 as I believe they're going to take us back here. Is that the 78, Johnny Fitzpatrick, as they come out of pit road? 78 cuts out, hits the cone into each other. Now, this is a call a friend card. Paul, does that damage show up coming out of pit road like that?
So sometimes yes, sometimes no. The drivers on pit road, in some cases, the cars are basically, you make it so you can drive through each other just because there's so much action going on pit road. A lot of these drivers obviously have never practiced a real-life pit stop. Some of them have. A lot of these drivers do run at short tracks in real life, but when iRacing sends these drivers down on pit road, it sends the cars essentially invisible, so you can kind of drive through and make it down to your pit stop. But that was cutting it close. That's about as far down pit road you could make it before that car's turned solid again. So that was definitely a tangly situation between the 78 and the 19.
Now, it looks like to be a little bit of damage on the front fender or passenger side, but that was pretty close. The 78 taking out the corner cone, but bit of a shake-up here, Tim. Dave Cassidy, a little craftiness. Been fighting with the top 3, and look at this. Travis Roma picking up a few spots. Mike Rhino moving from P3 all the way back to P6. Nicholas Noggle entering the picture now in the top 5. So this restart is going to be a wild one on lap number 73, I believe, as we come around, as they double them up here. Tim, this is going to be exciting.
To confirm, I saw that 13 car go up on the right and up on the left. 4 tires on the 13 car. Quicker pit stop than the other 3, so he will lead this field to green. First time all night long we've seen a different leader other than Matthew Barkhouse in the 15. The Dave Cassidy car will be the control car. The White Lightning Auto Center, Big Cam Fabrication, Mike's Bar and Grill. Number 13, the driver from Miramichi, will lead the field down to green. The lights are back on atop of the pace car, so we will go one more lap. We still have 18 drivers on the racetrack on the lead lap. We have 2 drivers that are scored as 1 lap down. That is Nick Mott and Ashton Tucker, and I believe Ashton Tucker may have been told to come down pit road to fix his internet connection after being out there for 70-something laps. Might have been a little too late for that, but he's done for the evening. Nick Mott, 1 lap down. Kyle Gammon's out of the race. Lewis Mason is out of the race, and Chris Roma is out of the race. So we have 19 drivers on the racetrack, Mike. We have 18 of those scored in the lead lap as we get ready to come back to green.
As they head down the pack stretch, the lights are out on the pace car. Dave Cassidy will have the hammer here for the first time tonight. Will he make it a big one as he comes around 3 and 4? Pace car is set to exit here, and we'll watch the 13. Will he fire right away, or will he hold and gonna just a little hesitation and fire and kind of mix up the 15 as the 15 drops in. The 75 comes in as well. But look at that, Mike Rhino charging on the outside, trying to get to the outside of Travis Roma, but we've seen the outside line a little bit slower here. Roma and Suggs, I believe, should be able to clear here.
And you said it, it shakes up the lineup with 50 laps to go next time by across the stripe. We have 3 teammates riding up in front. Now how aggressive does Matthew Barkhouse get by Dave Cassidy? Dave Cassidy drove up to those 3 cars, kind of rode a little bit. One of those 3 cars is about to be passed here by Nicholas Noggle for position number 5 as they continue to duke it out in behind Travis Roma. Roma up to 4th, Noggle at 5th, and it's dispatched Mike Rhino back to position number 6. So a little bit of change there, but up in front, Dave Cassidy in the 13 leads his field and paces his field down the back straightaway with the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse on his back bumper.
This is going to be exciting final 49 laps here at Richmond as Cassidy taking full control here. He's watched Barkhouse and the 75 and Mike Rhino lap quite a few green flags around here and know the lines that the boys are running here. The big thing is, will he be able to pull away just slightly, or will he be in defense mode, trying to put the blocks on the 15 and the 75 run?
I don't think you have to play the blocks right now, and if you're Matthew Barkhouse and Mike Alexander, I don't think you have to be aggressive at this point. Still got 50 laps left to go. We went 60-something laps on that run, so realistically, if we were to go green to the end of this race, you kind of know what you have, and we saw the 13 be really, really quick, especially as the run went on. Didn't really show it, but really didn't have to. Once he got up to those top 4 and was able to ride and get a little bit of laps underneath his belt, get to this point, Roma and Noggle, really, they haven't been a whole lot, they haven't been loud tonight. They've kind of been quiet and consistent, but now they're sitting in 4th and 5th, and they might have something here before this is all said and done.
It's been a while since myself and you have called a live show, but we've had a lot of fun over the years, Tim. Are you choking on moose jerky over there?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Sounds like you're having a hard time getting it down, but it's a pleasure to be here with you, Tim, here at Richmond for the RBR series, and what a great night to get things going after, like I said, the opening of racing last week. Daytona now in the books, going to the road course at Daytona next week. That's going to be exciting. But plenty of action here as Cassidy controls this one, and Travis Roma going to be one to watch here. Having a peek at Brett Suggs, he started off in row number 4, still maintaining P8, but look at that, Wade Craswell, Mark Williams now entering the top 10 picture.
Yeah, and quietly back there in 9th and 10th is Craswell and Williams, and Tanton Woolridge behind them, and actually Woolridge is kind of in a fight right now with Danny Vitch and John Byron for position number 11. We touched on the battles that happened throughout this pack. We kind of saw that outside the top 10 in the first run, and we're kind of seeing it here once again as the 29s had a really good run here this evening. It has been flirting with the top 10 effort, qualified in 16th place, and there it is right there on the screen. He's forcefully trying to get his way into this top 10 as he battles with Tanton Woolridge. This is for 11th.
Danny Vitch on the run. Will Johnny Byron join him? Dan Woolridge trying to get in there, but now the run, the 57 will get it as he throws it down. Will he try 2 here? As he will. Look at this. Johnny Byron into 57, picking up 2 spots. What a monster move by the 57.
One of the best runs we've seen all season long out of John Byron, but it seems like when we go to these momentum racetracks, John Byron is one that we have to watch, and didn't get the qualifying effort that he wanted to, but was quick in practice and now sitting up in 11th place. But he's got about a second to reel in Mark Williams and the top 10. But if this race continues green, he was quick on that longer run, and we'll see what he can do to reel those guys in. But up in front, Dave Cassidy is checked out from this field. We talk about drivers that are good on the long run. There's a 13 way up ahead of that number 15. It's about 0.6 of a second between your top 2.
One car we haven't talked about a lot is Craig Tully as he tries to enter the picture now. He's in P7 as he tries to close the gap now. Mike Rhino now rejoining the top 6 pack as our top 6 now running together, except for Dave Cassidy now building almost 0.7 of a second. Now 0.6 of a second ahead of Matthew Barkhouse as he tries to check out with the fresh rubber. Lots of clean air right now for Dave Cassidy, but big, strong run from the 5 machine of Craig Tully here tonight, entering the top 7.
Qualified 11th up to position number 7, and really no pressure from behind. He's got about 2 seconds back to Brett Suggs. No pressure in front of him. He's got about a second to catch up to that lead pack or that lead train, and the next driver in line is Brett Suggs. Brett Suggs in the custom Matco, Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing number 33, has a little bit of a gap back to Williams, who's battling with the 67 of Wade Craswell, about 2 car lengths or so in between those two. So this is about the time in the race where, and we've mentioned with the super speedway races that we've covered here in the last couple of days on Vidane, that this necessarily isn't go time, but you need to be in a position to really push in these last 25 laps or so. We're about 10 or so laps away from that mark. You really got to put yourself in a position to be able to pounce and reel them in. If you're in those top 5, top 6, you're in that spot. If your guys back here, like Craig Tully, Brent Suggs, you kind of have to start thinking about, how am I going to reel those guys in without a caution?
Yeah, with only 19 cars here on the big D track, 3/4 miles here at Richmond, lots of room. So we could potentially go full green right to the 125 mark. But we will find out as we continue to monitor action on the track. But lots of separation, lots of clean air for all these drivers. You may possibly see a caution with one of these drivers spanking that back wall coming out of 1 and 2. But as of right now, lots of green flag. Only one caution here tonight. And it's been pretty exciting to watch the 13 as he surged at the early parts of this race, made it up to the top 4, chased down Mike Rhino, Mike Alexander, Matthew Barkhouse for several laps, made the monster move on pit road, and here we are. It is the 13 of Dave Cassidy night, and he's built up over 7/10 of a second on P2, Matthew Barkhouse.
Great pace out of Dave Cassidy tonight, and with this field and this race coming down to 32 laps left in this event, Cassidy still has plenty of time. Barkhouse still has plenty of time, and Barkhouse and Alexander might be saving a little bit more than Dave Cassidy is, but that lead continues in the last couple laps to start to build again. It's almost 3/4 of a second between your top 2. Mike Alexander back to 3rd, Roma, Noggle, and Rhino in this little pack. So these drivers, I think if this race stays green, are the ones that have to contend for the win, but we've also seen mistakes being made. We saw that one with Conrad Murphy coming out of turn 4 to trigger the only caution flag of the evening. It takes only one small mistake for something like that to happen in Bunch's field right back up again. So you don't want to be that guy, but you also want to be able to get back towards the front of the field. So if you're back there with guys like Wade Creswell and those guys middle of the pack, and you kind of want that caution to kind of bunch his field back up for you to have an opportunity, but you don't want to be that guy either.
It'll be interesting to see. These cars are going about 141 miles an hour in the backstretch, front stretch, but it'll be interesting to see if our P2 to P6, right back to Mike Rhino, join together and try to cooperate with each other to try to close the gap on the 13, as Travis Roma almost applied a bit of pressure, but we're seeing that now. The shake and bake action, the 75, Mike Alexander tries to get to the back bumper to 15 and kind of tandem each other, a little bit of a freight train, and try to apply a little bit more pressure as they close the gap by 2/10. Now about a half a second now on Cassidy, picking up 2/10 on the last lap.
Well, aero is key here. You can still drive down a driver or run down a driver in front of you, and Barkhouse and Alexander the last couple laps have kind of turned the wick up. And now the question is, once they get there, how aggressive do they get? When do they make that move to try to take this victory? And a couple of hundreds right there the last time, 200s between Dave Cassidy and Matthew Barkhouse, and Barkhouse was able to chisel off of that lead. So if they can continue to do that, they'll be there. But do they make the tires angry? Do they warm them up a little too much? Is Dave Cassidy saving anything? Dave got out to that 7/10 of a second lead and kind of just started to ride a little bit. Mike Alexander is kind of thrown the water, per se, on his run towards, or maybe he's trying to mind that gap and try to manage it a little bit. It's about 8/10 of a second. It's still that 3/4 of a second-ish between himself and the 13, but Matthew Barkhouse is starting to reel it back in again, and this is going to be a cat and mouse game. This is going to be a game of chess here, I think, in these remaining 25 laps.
It's going to be an exciting conclusion here. Will we see a caution? Maybe not. This could go all green right to 125. You said, when will he make the move? Will he put him in checkmate? But if he plays that move a little bit too early, we've seen a couple of these 3/4 mile tracks where the move got done a little bit too early, and it came back to bite him in turn 4. So we'll see what happens here as we count them down. 102 completed here. Cassidy still in control. Travis Roma trying to enter that picture, but a bit of a gapage now as Roma's about a second and a half behind our leader. But Mike Alexander trying to get back on the hammer to the back bumper. Matthew Barkhouse looking a little sharper tonight.
Yeah, this top 6 is the best battle on the racetrack. As Creswell, I believe that is, will go a second lap down in front of the leader, Dave Cassidy. work his way to the inside of the number 67 here in a couple of laps. But best battle on the racetrack within this battle is the 08 of Nicholas Noggle and the 34 of Mike Rhino. Rhino has been putting some pressure on the Brycon Construction 08 back here for position number 5, but for the most part, this has been the best battle on the racetrack. Everybody else has kind of found a place to race and kind of a place away from everybody else, Mike. This is the closest two that are on the racetrack, and it's the battle for fifth.
Well, Rhino's running probably the same setup as Alexander Barkhouse, as they are teammates. And, he was up in the front, P3, pretty much most of the race, about 3/4 of the length. So a bit frustrating for the 34 as he tries to get around the 88, the Nicholas Noggle, the 8 machine, as he still applies pressure to the back bumper.
Leaders will come by and put that lap on the 67 at Craswell, and they're also working up on Conrad Murphy to put the 89 car, what would be 1 lap down. So some lap traffic thrown into the mix here, but for the most part, I think everybody's kind of minding their P's and Q's. Little sparks flying off the back straightaway, and the 34 of Rhino goes back to work in the Brycon Construction Mobile 108 of Nicholas Noggle, sitting in position number 5 right now, closest battle on the racetrack with 19 laps to go in this Clark's 125. We remind you this is round number 5 of 6 on the RBR Maritime Series. We will come back next week as Conrad Murphy had a moment down the back straightaway in front of the leaders. That was close for Dave Cassidy. We stayed green, but one more race to go, Mike, next week, and it's a 250-lap race at the Five Flag Speedway with the Super Lates. So we go from Richmond, the big sweeping 3/4 mile, to the half mile at Five Flag Speedway that kind of races a little more like a short track compared to this setup here. As Rhino is on it, he's trying to get to the inside of Noggle but can't get there in 3.
Yeah, the 08 looking sharp as well here tonight. He's not going to give it up too easy, but checking in on our leader, Dave Cassidy, Matthew Barkhouse, about 1/4 of a second now. Now under 2/10 of a second. Actually, that gap is getting really close to Dave Cassidy. Cassidy's going to be fighting off the 15 in just a moment as they keep continuing to come up on lap traffic.
There's the 67 at Craswell, and Barkhouse is there. He is within a half car length to the 13 of Dave Cassidy, and Mike Alexander, I think, is kind of letting these two play out in front. So the battle for the lead happening up in front with 15 laps to go.
Someone needs to knock the camera. There we go. There we go. The 13 is still within reach here as he counts them down 15 laps. He's going to have a full attack from the 15 and 75 as Mike Alexander hits the hammer, and he wants to get to the back bumper and enter the picture. It could be a night for the 75 as he was probably saving some for the last 15 or 16 laps as he continues to surge. But look at this, Matthew Barkhouse within about a car length now. Eighth of a second now to our leader, the 13, Dave Cassidy.
Now, I don't want to bring back bad memories, but if you're Nicholas Noggle a couple of weeks ago, you'll remember that Matthew Barkhouse is not afraid to use the bumper and kind of hip check somebody out of the way. Dave Cassidy, we haven't seen Dave be aggressive, so we'll see what kind of battle this ends up being at the end when we come down to 12 laps to go next time by. There is some lap traffic ahead of the leaders and Derek Gates. You just saw from that shot from the 15. But if you're sitting there in second place, you got a driver that might not be as aggressive. How do you handle this battle, Mike?
I don't know. I mean, this lap traffic coming up may play a factor here, but Cassidy, I believe, is going to block as much as possible because the strong surge from the 15 is coming on strong, and I don't think Cassidy has enough to hold him off without shutting the door here as we get close to 10 to go here. Can Cassidy hang on to this one? What a wild night for the 13 machine as he gets a full attack by the shake and bake. The brothers, Matthew Barkhouse, Mike Alexander on the hammer right now.
It's been a tale of two races. Matthew Barkhouse led the opening stanza of this race, the opening half of this race, before the caution flag comes out just shy of lap 70. Then we come down pit road, quick pit stop for Dave Cassidy to get track position, to get 4 tires and get himself out in front. And now they'll come by next time with 9 laps remaining, and Dave Cassidy is only 9 laps away from one of the biggest wins that he's had in a while here on VEIN TV to pick up that victory. But I don't think this is over because Barkhouse is there, flashes that nose to the inside. Is this the move? With 9 laps to go, gets down to the inside, and Dave gives him enough room, but he gets sideways. He gave him enough room down there, and that door slowly started to close through 1 and 2.
So close, but no cigar. But that's going to be a bit of an advantage right now for the 13 as he gains a little bit of real estate now as we get close to the marker here. 7 laps to go. Cassidy still under fire from the 15 as they try to reel him back in. That was pretty tight, very close. 15 almost had him, but Cassidy pitching him to the bottom, making him drop below the yellow line and making him fight for it here. But this could be enough for the 13 to take away, but I don't think the 15 and 75 are finished yet, Tim.
I don't think the 15 is going to be overly happy with that move. The 13 gave him enough room going into the corner and gave him a lane, then gave him 3/4 of a lane, and then gave him half a lane, and then the 15 car kind of realizes I'll save it for another time, and goes down to the inside and loses that momentum. I think if he gets up here, Mike, I think it might be a different story, and I think Matthew Barkhouse might get a little bit aggressive here as he goes down into 3. He'll come to 5 to go at the strike.
Well, I think there's going to be a scrub on the back bumper, a little exchange of paint here, possibly, but a little wobble opens up the door, and now the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse continues the attack. Now within striking distance, but 5 laps to go as they come around. It will be 4 to go. Cassidy, will he be able to hang on to it here as he comes under fire from the 15 to 15? Now half car now tried to drop to the bottom, but the 13 slams the door. Look out. Maybe this could be the night for the 75 because the 15 and 13 could get into a tangle and the 75 walk away with a victory.
And if they all somehow get tangled up in it, Travis Roma is running 4th, and actually Travis Roma is kind of reeling in those drivers in behind. You see the black and yellow in your picture, far away from your picture, about a second and a half or so, but that could very well change if something does happen up there. There is the 38, the RBR car, as we come to 3 laps to go. Noggle in position number 5, and Dave Cassidy has a mirror full of the 15 of Barkhouse. Down the back straightaway this time. Barkhouse sideways out of corner number 2, sails it into 3. They'll come up this time, Mike, with 2 laps remaining.
Well, 2 to go here before we see the big checkers here as Cassidy's going to come around here with 2 to go here. And we're going to probably include a little action from the fans at home. Top 3, Mike Alexander, Barkhouse, Cassidy. Who do you think is going to win here as we get set almost for the white silk? Cassidy got full fire from the Matthew Barkhouse as we probably will see that bumper if he can get there.
But Dave got a great exit at a corner number 4. Final lap in the Clark's Electric 125. This is where he struggles a little bit over here through 1 and 2. Barkhouse does get a great launch and almost gets too big of a launch off at turn number 2. Dives it down into turn number 3. Is he close enough to use the bumper? Gets on the binders a little bit. Allows Cassidy to breathe off at turn number 4. And Dave Cassidy is going to win the Clark's Electric 125 at Richmond Raceway. Barkhouse in a second, and third is going to belong to Mike Alexander, Travis Roma, Nicholas Noggle, your top 5. Rhino, Suggs, got by Tully at the end of that race. Mark Williams, John Byron, your top 10. The 57 car able to get up here and get a great finish out of that one. But how about that? Dave Cassidy, huge win here.
Monster, massive win for Cassidy. Probably sweating bullets as he had a full attack from Matthew Barkhouse, but what a night for the 13 machine of Dave Cassidy. What a wild night. All the fans at home probably on the edge of their seat as one of the wildest finishes I've seen in a while, Tim.
And going into the finale, going to set up well as the 13 going to celebrate his first victory here of this season. And what a show. You look back from 11th on back, Tanton Woolridge, John Fitzpatrick, Danny Vitch, Caden Tufts, Taylor Layton, all on the lead lap at the end. Nick Mott, Derek Gates, Wade Creswell, Conrad Murphy, among those that were still on the racetrack multiple laps down, and then Kyle Gammon, Ashton Tucker, Lewis Mason, and Chris Roma complete your field. We'll see if we can't catch up with our winner, Dave Cassidy. Dave, you got a copy?
I'm here.
Welcome to Victory Lane. That was a fun race. Talk about battling with Matthew Barkhouse at the end, because it looked like Barkhouse was there down to the inside a couple of times. What did you have to do to hold him off?
For sure he was going to have me. I gave him room that I think it was going into like in one or whatever, and I know I cut down, put him below the O line. I didn't mean to do that, so apologize to him for that. But hey,
Was pitch strategy that big here? Because it looked like in that first run, you ran up through the field, was able to park yourself on the back of those three and kind of just rode a little bit. You got that pitch strategy, you got that 4 tires quicker than everybody else, but how big was that to try to work your way by on pit road and not have to do it on the racetrack?
I didn't think I was going to be able to when I caught them. I didn't think I had anything to get by them. So when the caution came out and we were going to pit, I just didn't take as much fuel as I took a gamble on the amount of fuel that I took, but it worked.
We saw you run well at Bristol back in January. We've seen you run well on some of those bigger racetracks like the Rock and Dover, those momentum-based racetracks. What is it about these racetracks like your Dovers and your Bristols and your Richmonds that you seem to gravitate better towards than maybe those little shorter racetracks?
I really don't know because I don't know. Like this place here, I can't stand it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm going to start liking it now. Bristol, I always ran good at Bristol. I always run good at Martinsville. Had a few good runs in other shorter tracks, but I don't know why, to be honest with you.
Well, it's a win nonetheless, and it's a big one at that. Who's on this race car? Who would you like to thank? Who's watching you want to say hello to?
Oh, we'll thank the boys that helped us all summer. White Lightning, Mike Spartan Grill, Big Cam, all the boys at BSM.
And can you do us a favor and run over to Littleton and get Ashton a better internet connection?
I don't know. We've been talking about that. I don't know what's going on way up there, but he's lucky he has internet, I guess, up there.
You rub the 2 tin cans together, I guess. Congratulations on the win, Dave. Go celebrate, and we'll see you next week at the finale.
Yeah, thanks.
That's Dave Cassidy, your winner tonight in the Clark's Electric 125. And Mike, you're down there with the 2 brothers. Why don't you chat with Matthew Barkhouse and Mike Alexander?
Oh, you want me to take both of them, do you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure, let's try it out. Mike, Matthew Barkhouse, you got a copy, boys?
Yep.
What a run, man. You led pretty much 3/4 of the race. You had the big hiccup on pit road there as Cassidy has just told us took a little bit less fuel. Take us through tonight. It looked like you had a great setup. Mike Rhino had a good run with you. But take us through the beginning here and how you were so up front.
I wasn't the fastest car by any means. Richmond is not a track I enjoy or I'm quick at, so I managed to get second there on that qualifying, and just having that starting on green, I was able to get a good jump and get up to the lead. But I knew just a top 3 finish was probably all I had, and once Dave got out front there, I wasn't going to risk the points to get into him or anything like that, so took the P2 finish and move on to next week for the finale.
Mike, you had a good view there behind the 15. Was there any to possibly have a bit of there at the end, or just not enough there?
Well, I was trying to save my tires, and I thought I saved them a little better than them guys, but I just didn't have quite enough left at the end to get up and get around them. I was really taking it easy at the beginning of that run, and I thought would have had lots left, but they did just as much, which I was really surprised. Where Dave only took 2, he did a great job saving them.
When you came out of turn 1, Matthew, you almost door open, but Cassidy kind of shut the door, forced you down below the yellow. Take us through that corner.
Yeah, I knew I had to keep the pressure on and just keep ducking low, and eventually he would shove up a bit. I know Dave's a good driver. He likes to run clean, and I didn't think he meant to come down. Of course, in the heat of the moment, you're a little upset that you're in there, and then you go down the bottom. But at the end of the day, I'm racing for points. I'm not racing to turn a guy I've had no problems with. So good win for Dave, and hopefully we can do something great next week at 5 Flags. Yeah,
we're going to look forward to the big show, 250 laps, but looking forward to seeing you guys both back there. Mike, just a good question for you. Were you kind of thinking the 15 and 13 were going to come together and you're playing a little bit safe back there?
I didn't think they'd get together. I know they both clean drivers, and I knew neither of them really going to force the issue. I was just playing the tire strategy. I really thought I had enough left that I'd be able to get by them, two of them, but just didn't have it there, and it's screw up on my part.
Well, boys, always a pleasure to call you guys, and you guys had at the early sets, almost got there at the end. Cassidy just buying just a little bit of an extra there at the pit road. Obviously played a strategy there for the 13. But congratulations to both you guys. Guys, you got anybody you want to thank for tonight for your P2, P3?
All the normal guys on the cars, the Alexander Sign Group, Celtic Air Services, Aaron Our Kinsman's, Ronald Automotive, all the guys there at Rev, Ryan, I don't know how to say his last name, still Twinham or Twinham. I know one of you guys are saying it wrong, so am I. So, and Keith too. Hopefully he gets back in racing with us once his computer's fixed up.
Mike?
Yeah, no, same guys. Other than I think the only one we forgot was CRF and Port City, but all the same guys. And it's Twinham. It's Ryan Twinham, not Twinham.
I say Twinham all the time, so now I'm going to say Twinham. But thanks for the correction, Mike. Guys, Big 250 coming up next week. What do you got for us coming up in the big final? A lot of practice coming ahead of you next week?
I don't think so. I think it's a track I've had a lot of fun at, and if you run too much practice, you get in your head sometimes, and it's better to kind of go in with just enough practice so you know the track and how the conditions are, and just keep going forward.
I hate that place, so I'm just going to take what it gives me.
Awesome. It's going to be excellent to see you guys back. Unfortunately, Mike, Rhino couldn't stay within the top three, but Rhino had a great night too as well, but just on up pit road, lost a bit of momentum behind you guys. So I'll be excited to see the trio back in action again. We'll look forward to seeing both you trackside next week. Before I let you go, are you guys pretty excited about race season, hopefully starting in a couple of months?
It'll be a lot more fun if I start working on my car and stop playing iRacing every day, but hopefully it's done.
Daytona now completed, so racing season officially started. Looking forward to one day seeing you guys at the real racetrack. So congratulations from all of us at Vidane TV and RBR Maritime. Big night for you guys.
Thanks a lot.
Timmy, wow, edge of the seat.
Yeah, that was exciting. Congratulations to Dave Cassidy on the victory. And now we move on to a doubleheader tomorrow here on Vidane TV. We've got the TCM Weekly iRacing Series, followed by the Fatheads Cup Series. Neps is back on Thursday and Friday. Actually, Brent Roy is in here. I'll see if Brent can give us a preview on Thursday, since Paul is tongue-tied. Where are we racing Thursday and Friday?
We are going to Auto Club Speedway on Thursday with the Grand National cars. Pretty excited to see that track as they were practicing tonight as I was sitting here in Richmond. So don't have any speed there, but we'll see. And then Friday we wrap up the truck series at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So excited to slip and slide around there too.
Well, you might draft with the ARCA car at Auto Club, so you might be okay Thursday.
I might be, that's a big might, but a bigger probably not. So we'll see. I know the guys are logging some laps here tonight, and John Peters and Ryan Libby are getting close on that championship battle, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes Thursday.
And then we've got a big championship battle on Saturday as well. The Vidane Super Speedway Sim 500 Series. 4 drivers going for the ride in the Rent a Race Car Street Stock at Stafford, the championship belt. All that fun stuff. Sim Racing Unleashed, I believe, Paul, is on Sunday. Then we return here on next Tuesday, with the RBR series. We've also got the Sim 500 Trans-Service Cup series on Monday. We got the TCM Live returning as well. We got all kinds of great events, Paul, coming up here. There's lots to be excited about.
Oh, for sure. Day off. What's a day off? You can see it on the screen right now. 7 days in a row, and next week looks about the same. Looks like we might have openings Thursday and Friday of next week if you want to get something in. Eastbound Park. So we might see a little bit of Mike and the Rock action, but really looking forward to it, man. Lots of stuff going on here at Vidane TV. Getting some text messages back and forth from a new graphic designer that's going to be joining the team here, and we're going to keep that in the bag for right now, but we got a makeover coming here at Vidane TV coming up for our 1-year anniversary / birthday. coming up in March, and I'm really excited about it. I've seen a couple of sneak peeks on some of the graphics that are going to be coming in with this graphics package for all of these leagues and the fans to enjoy. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited for it, and really looking forward to year number 2 here at Verdane. The very first race was March 28th, I believe it was. The date, East Coast Winter League, Dylan Kopech and his modified drivers at Stafford Motor Speedway, the first league that jumped on with us, and we're going to be putting together a some kind of anniversary show for that to kind of celebrate and bring all of the leagues and drivers and sponsors, partners, everybody that's involved here at Verdane TV. Have one great big party and see if we can maybe have a bit of a show here for the fans. But that's going to wrap it up here for Verdane TV. We're going to be doing it live again tomorrow night. Tim already made mention, doubleheader tomorrow night. Tim's Corner Motorsports weekly series comes back at Nashville Fairgrounds. And then we've got the rebranded Fatheads Cup Series Wednesday, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, right after the fact. So looking forward to that. We'll catch you on the flip side. And when we do, we're going to be doing it live right here on Verdane TV.